All right, so today we're going to dive into a view of Jesus that millions, actually billions of people hold, but it might be a perspective you've never really explored. And it's fascinating because it's this story of, well, both shared reverence and really deep theological differences.
And do you know, the interesting thing is, this whole story doesn't start with conflict or disagreement. It actually starts from a place you might not expect, a point of agreement. It's like a bridge between two of the world's biggest faiths, and it's built on this one shared, incredibly revered figure.
Okay, so here it is. This is the big connection that honestly surprises a lot of people. In Islam, Jesus is revered as the Messiah. Yep, you heard that right, the promised Messiah.
And the overlap here is, well, it's pretty significant. Islamic tradition affirms that Jesus wasn't just any prophet, he was a hugely important one, that he was, in fact, the promised Messiah. And, get this, that he was born to a virgin. So right there, you've got this really substantial foundation of shared belief.
So that's the obvious question, right? If there's so much common ground, where's the difference? Where do things split off? Well, the answer isn't just about Jesus as a person. It's actually about something much bigger, the whole idea of divine revelation. See, to really get the Islamic view of Jesus, you can't just look at him in isolation. You have to see him as this really crucial link in a long, sacred chain, a chain of prophets, all sent by the very same God.
So here's how the thinking goes in Islam. Over the centuries, God sent messages or revelations to lots of different prophets, including figures who were central to Judaism and Christianity. But here's the key part. It's believed that over time, humans kind of corrupted or altered those original messages. So to set the record straight, God sent one final, perfect, and complete revelation through the Prophet Muhammad. Islam is seen as the fulfillment, the final version of those earlier traditions. And that brings us right to the Quran. It's not just another holy book in this chain. It holds this really unique status. It's considered the direct, eternal, and perfectly preserved Word of God. The idea is that it's uncorrupted, unchanged, and final.
Okay, so it's this idea of a final, perfected revelation that really creates the big split. Because even though Jesus is deeply, deeply revered, the beliefs about who he was at his core and what actually happened in his life, well, that's where things get fundamentally different.
All right, let's lay it out. The differences here are stark. In the Islamic view, Jesus is an incredibly revered prophet, a human being. But, and this is a big but, he is strictly not divine. He is not God. And because of that fundamental belief, the idea that he died on the cross is rejected. And if he didn't die, then of course, the resurrection is also rejected. He is the Messiah, yes, but he is not God.
So you're probably wondering, well, what did happen at the crucifixion then? According to the Quran, Jesus never actually died on the cross at all. The belief is that God made it look like he did, that someone else, a substitute, was put in his place, and that Jesus himself was raised up to heaven alive.
So why? Why are these differences so absolute? Why reject something essential as the crucifixion? It all boils down to the single most important, most central, non-negotiable idea in all of Islam, and that's the very nature of God.
This concept has a name. It's called Tawheed. And what it means is the absolute, uncompromising belief that God is one and that God cannot be divided. This isn't just an idea in Islam. It is the core principle. Literally everything else flows from this one, single, powerful idea.
Just one. No partners, no children, no parts. God is seen as a single, unique, totally incomparable being. This is the absolute bedrock.
And if you start from that bedrock belief, the rest of the logic just falls into place. The thinking is that God is so transcendent, so pure, so completely separate from the universe he created, that the very idea of God becoming human is, well, an impossibility. If God is completely unique, then God can't take the form of something created, like a person.
And that leaves us with this really fascinating question, doesn't it? How can one single core idea, the absolute oneness of God, lead to a view of Jesus that is, at the same time, so deeply reverent and yet so profoundly different from the Christian one? It's just a powerful reminder of how one foundational belief can shape an entire worldview.